Welcome to this session. Today's topic is on An Apology for Poetry by Sir Philip Sidney. Now let us see introduction. An Apology for Poetry, or The Defense of Poetry, was published in 1595. It was the first significant theoretical text in English literary criticism. It has taken its place among the great critical essays in English. It is a methodological study of the art of poetry and a critical discussion of the state of English poetry in Sidney's time. Sir Philip Sidney, he was the most commanding literary figure before the prime of Edmund Spenser and the great dramatist William Shakespeare. Sidney was born in Kent of an aristocratic family. He was educated at Shrewsbury and Oxford. He was a Platonist, a Puritan. He was a courtier and a poet, a multi-personality who died at the early age of 32. His finest achievements was sequence of 108 love sonnets, the Astrophel and Estella, which place him as the greatest Elizabethan sonneter. Secondly, his pastoral romance, Arcadia, is an intricate love story. And thirdly, The Apology for Poetry is an answer to Stephen Gossen's The School of Abuse. A playwright turned critic, Stephen Gossen, had published a treatise entitled The School of Abuse in 1579, attacking poets and players. He mentioned them as caterpillars of a commonwealth. Sidney was provoked by Gossen's invective against poetry and poets and wrote his apology to vindicate the good name of poetry. Three major sections in Apology for Poetry. The Apology for Poetry can be broadly divided into three major sections. The first part is a general defense of poetry, arguing that it is the earliest form of literature. It is better than history and philosophy. It is unique in its effort because it teaches virtues and it is the mother of all knowledge. It is a commendation of the dignity of poetry. The second part is an answer to Gossen's charges. He tries to establish that poetry is the first among arts. He shows that poetry teaches as well as moves. It is a defense of poetry against a variety of charges. And thirdly, the third part is a scholarly inquiry into the causes of the low repute poetry in England. It is a review of his contemporary situation. Let us see what are the charges by Stephen Gossen against poetry and how Sidney defends it. First, man might better spend his time in other faithful knowledge rather than in wasting his time in poetry. So, why should man waste his time in reading poetry? So, in order to defend, Sidney defends that poetry is supreme in teaching only virtue. It teaches and delights. Second charge is poetry is mother of lies. Sidney responds that poetry never makes false statement. Instead, he goes that what should a man do or what should a man not to do, or what is real and what is not real. Third charge is poetry is mother of lies. Sidney replies that poetry is not, it is not that poetry abuses man's wit, but that man's wit abuses poetry. Poetry will always be the best companion of mankind. And finally, a fourth charge is Plato banished poetry out of his commonwealth. And for this, Sidney answers that Plato is the most poetical. The conflict between philosophy and poetry is an ancient one, but Plato is not an enemy of poetry. Even in Ion, Plato refers to poetry as an inspiring divine force. So Sidney tries and defends poet and poetry. Coming to conclusion, apology for poetry. Poetry is full of virtue-breeding delightfulness. So no one must scorn the sacred mysteries of poetry. Poets are so beloved, divine, and immortal. He points out that its two main functions are teaching and delight. So poetry is universal, the light giver to ignorance and the first nurse. So poets are divine and are immortal. Yes, thank you.